let folks join in. We think we're streaming. And we're streaming, what are we streaming on? LAX 18 News. And we are streaming on Facebook with 7 people so far, so hello. All right, we'll let a couple of more folks join in here. Thanks for your patience. Ran into some technical issues and had to get the illustrious Paul, the engineer, to help talk me through getting this thing up and running. So again, to our engineers, well done. Specifically Paul. And hi, Debbie. So this is going to be short and sweet tonight. Just kind of giving you a quick update so that whoever needs to go to bed can go to bed and not worry about necessarily the storms that will be coming in. It's not a 0% for severe, but it's not very high either. So things are actually kind of unfolding more or less as we were thinking with a lot of this. That storms will be going gangbusters out west of us, and as they begin to approach, they're going to begin to weaken, and that process has already begun. We'll kind of go through the reasons why. This is not going to be a long and drawn out event, because you can watch this also tonight at 11 on the TV. Nope, no snow, although it could flake a couple of times tomorrow, just because of so much cold air aloft. And so close to the surface that we can overcome temperatures in the 40s, low 40s, and get some snowflakes down to the ground. So it's not going to be a big deal. So all right, we've got, let's see how many folks we got going here.
Allison Krauss.
It's Allison Krauss. Okay.
And that was her.
Okay. Yeah. Larry and I were wondering who was just on NBC's coverage from the Grand Ole Opry. I was guessing Mary Chapin Carpenter. It was Allison Krauss. I'm not exactly up on my country music performance. My wife would have known that. Okay, we got 400 some people here. Let's go ahead and get going. Right off the bat, Lane Jones there, Flemingsburg. You'll get some storms through tonight, but I don't expect anything severe for you. So here you go. You can see here on the Max Track that we already have a line of storms. Now, when I came in back from dinner a little after 8, this entire line was severe. So you can see already that there has been a lessening to the overall number of severe storms. Now, there are a couple of warnings still out there. These are still west of Louisville. So again, they have not crossed the river into the Louisville metro yet. They're in southern Indiana, and then they continue back toward Brandenburg. We had a little pea-sized hail a little while ago in Brandenburg. Meade County, pea-sized hail out of Meade County there. And that's a decent little storm down there. You can see that's not overly high, moving at about 50 miles an hour to the northeast. The entire line's coming east at about 30. The individual cells, though, are moving at about 55 to 60. So, again, there is the big picture with all this. There's one more warning back down there by Hopkinsville. But up in Indiana, it's all severe thunderstorm warnings at this point. The yellow that you see in northern Kentucky, that's a severe thunderstorm watch. Owen County, Grant County, Pendleton County, then the Cincinnati metro. The red that you see is a tornado watch for Henry County, Oldham, and then the Louisville metro. So that's the setup. That's live at 9:52. So let's take you from that. The Storm Prediction Center has our severe risk out on the I-65 corridor as slight. And you notice that it is marginal once you come in to central Kentucky. So you've got your line of storms out here right now, which are bordering on severe. They are weakening already. So as they are coming east, they're going to come into a less favorable environment. But how quickly that gets completely below severe threshold is why the marginal risk is still in place. But again, that weakening may come fairly quickly. So with that, Jennifer, I think we sent out a push, but I'm glad you're here now. Nicholasville, so we're getting everybody here. So central Kentucky, we've got the marginal risk of severe storms. It'll be 11, 12 o'clock, it looks like, for a lot of us to be getting in on this. So again, that's areas around Lexington down toward Lake Cumberland. So that's where your marginal risk still is. And again, the bigger picture, it's more up into Indiana. Now, here's why we think that these are going to be weakening. We got it labeled here as storm strength. What you're looking at is CAPE, convective available potential energy. It's basically storm food, storm strength. So you can see that we're at least weak to maybe a little moderate showing up, especially in southern Indiana with this. So that's as of 9 o'clock. And here you're looking at the HRRR model, the high resolution rapid refresh. You notice by midnight, the CAPE is basically gone. So the storms are working off of some instability that was in western Kentucky. As they are coming east, it's coming into a less favorable environment. So you can see that the energy available is going to be lessening as they approach I-75 and the Lake Cumberland area, which is why we're expecting the storm strength to decrease. Part of the reason why, when you look at the dew points, you can see E-Town's got a dew point in the mid-50s, but when you look over central Kentucky, Lake Cumberland area, it's in the 40s. It's hard to make storms go, surface-based storms go, with dew points that low. We actually had desert air out in eastern Kentucky earlier. Dew points were in the single digits earlier today, which is why the high fire danger was out there. But again, it's moving into a less favorable environment over the next couple of hours. So with that, again, your overall picture shows that wind gusts 25 to 35 mile per hour range. The wind advisory ends at 11. The storms that are, you can see there might be some pockets of some stronger winds within some of the thunderstorms, but the gradient winds, the ambient winds that we've been seeing all day, that part will be slackening here as we continue through this evening and tonight. Here's our future track. So that is going from 9:45. Again, individual cells are around by 10 o'clock. The storms are still west of 65 by the time we get you toward 11 o'clock. Crossing I-65, still west of 127. What you'll notice as we pass 11 o'clock, that it looks less intimidating with time. There are going to be showers and storms coming through, but again, not quite the angry look that some of the earlier hours were showing. And then by the time we're after midnight, we're down to showers and maybe a rumble of thunder as everything will be headed on off to the east and into a much, much more unfavorable environment. We'll go one more graphic here for you, and then I'll look back at some of the questions here. So you can see the watches getting added on. You can see everything going on across Illinois and Indiana, and the watches being pulled in from western Kentucky. What was interesting is that for a while we had blizzard warnings 200 miles from tornado watches. So that part was really interesting. But that's a typical spring storm. That's a normal spring storm. This is what happens this time of the year when you have more heat energy available. There's still plenty of cold air around, and you're able to develop these powerful mid-latitude cyclones. We had one over the weekend. You have one again today, but the flow overall going through time now into the weekend is going to flatten out. So we see a lot more normal coming, and the weather should be calming down. So let's take you back to the radar, the old max track here, the 20-year-old max track here, and we'll just go ahead and I'll pop some of the questions I've got here. Again, for most of us, this is a very low-end threat that's still out there. It's not a zero threat, but it's not far. Again, the storms are stronger I-65 and west than they will be when they get to the 127 corridor, and especially I-75. And then anything east of 75, I think your guys are going to be fine. Garrett County, again, you'll have dying storms that are arriving. Could they still be hovering around a severe threshold? Maybe, but not likely. That's really just about everybody in this whole mix. That's what I wanted to get across to you tonight, is this is not a high-end threat. This is not stay up and be glued to whatever information source. These storms, again, should be weakening as we go through time. I'm not seeing anything that really contradicts that. I'm looking at some of the chats that are going on, and nothing really to indicate that this is going to maintain much more as we get into the night. So Campbellsville, same idea. You're a little further to the west. You might have a little better chance of getting a stronger storm. But again, I think everything will be in a weakening phase as it gets here. Yeah, it's windy in Owingsville and a lot of places. Those are just gradient winds with that strong low that's up going through the Great Lakes. That's what we've been having around here all day today. Powell County, again, you're just looking at garden variety stuff. It is coming towards central Kentucky, but again, should be in a much weaker state. Uh, let's thank you, Chris, for that compliment. Uh, oh, Meteorologist, I like the sound of that. I don't even know where Wheelersburg, Ohio is. I know a lot of geography. I don't know that one. Um, so I'm just trying to make sure there's anything that's really pertinent here. It's windy and warm, Alyssa, where you are, because you are still in the warm sector of this storm, as we all are at this point. Temperatures are still in the 60s and pushing 70 in places, and so that's why we're still talking about these. But again, I suspect with time these are going to continue. I want to show you one more thing here, as long as I've got you here, if you want to hang for a sec. So we're going to just go ahead and show you a radar display here. I was looking at some stuff earlier. I want to pop the Louisville radar up because it's close to them. So first thing, here's their basic radar image. You notice it's not even a warned storm right now. But you see this, I'll highlight it, what I'm looking at. You see that right in there? There's a strong storm in there, and there's going to be a strong burst of wind right in there. That's the rear flank downdraft coming in behind this system here. So it's rotating in around behind, and it's pushing that out ahead. We'll keep an eye on that, but again, as dry as it's getting out in here, these storms are going to have an awfully hard time being surface-based. So again, these strong winds may be actually just off the surface, but that's a gust front right there that you're seeing south of Hardinsburg. So that's just an interesting feature. We'll see if these are able to send some gust fronts out our way, where we may see an increase in the wind. Like we saw Saturday morning, by the way. If you were downtown for the Shamrock Shuffle and some of the damage that occurred in Madison County as well, we had big storms that were dying up around Frankfort, but they sent out a gust front. And when it got to downtown Lexington, down there at the Fifth Third Pavilion, where I was with the Shamrock Shuffle, it blew the garbage cans, I mean heavy garbage cans, blew them over, blew everything off the tables. That was a gust front from that, just the dying burst from those storms. So again, they see now all these storms out to the west of us, no warnings on these. So it looks like everything now is sub-severe, at least for the moment. We could, again, push a couple of these, but it may not be surface-based anymore, where that strong wind that we're showing you may be a few hundred feet off the surface. Because, again, with stability at the surface, we may not be able to translate those down to ground level, those strongest of the winds. So, again, that's your setup. When we look at velocity displays, by the way, just to point out what we were showing you or talking about here. So, on the front end, we're showing you a 76 mile per hour wind. That is 1,800 feet off the surface. That's according to the Louisville radar. So, but that was on that gust front right there. So that's, again, just giving you a little radar meteorology here, just to do a little education tonight. Now, again, the severe risk is not zero, but it's close. I would suspect most of these will be just garden variety showers and storms when they come through. There's the lightning, so they are still vivid lightning producers. You could also get some hail out of these, at least small hail. But at the moment, nothing is severe. There are no watches and warnings locally. The closest watches we do have are, as we look up toward northern Kentucky, it's a severe thunderstorm watch, and to our west, a tornado watch. But I don't anticipate those coming into the bluegrass at this point. I'm not seeing anything from the Storm Prediction Center that would say otherwise. So that's it. We're at a little after 10 o'clock here. If there's anything else, new messages, hit that. Cynthiana, again, I think you've got garden variety storms coming in after midnight. Garden variety means lightning, thunder, rain, and some gusty winds, but nothing severe. Severe weather has a specific definition. The specific definition is 57 mile per hour wind or greater, hail an inch in diameter or larger. Those are the definitions of severe. Lightning and heavy rain do not make a storm severe. They can make them potentially dangerous, but don't make them severe. When I'm saying garden variety stuff, storms that we see all the time, that we don't interrupt programming for. Just regular, good old-fashioned, just run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. So that's what we mean by garden variety. London, I think you're looking more toward very, very late tonight morning, and it will be just garden variety. Um, yeah, you've got some rain, some lightning, and thunder that'll come through, and that ought to be about it. Um, all right, a couple more new messages, then we'll wrap this up. Thank you, Lori. 26 years actually, if you're keeping score at home. Um, so it's been a nice little quarter century. Lexington, I think it'll be between 11, 12, somewhere in there. It's still west of Louisville, so it's got a couple hours before it gets here. Interesting, real quick. You're seeing that rotation there, so that's on that storm that we were looking at with that outflow. So there is shear that's being detected. I'll go back over to the analysis real quick. The algorithms we have within our system, the Barron algorithms, are detecting shear. So it's gate-to-gate shear on the velocity display. So let's go over to the analysis real quick. Um, so again, that was the storm we were looking at with that gust front, that outflow coming out. So it's got the signature, but let me put the Louisville radar back up here and take the lightning off. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning for it. So there's at least some wind making it to the surface. But there's that new severe thunderstorm warning that just came out. That is close to it's E-town. So again, we're 50 miles to our west still. But when we look at this radar, what this storm is up to, let's check the storm relative real quick. Kind of cat, but there's a lot of red and green mixing in, straight up velocity. You're showing the strong winds there, but it's what we're looking at here is how the gust front here was outrunning the system, but what that also does is it gives the updraft a chance to catch it again. And that puts at least the possibility that you get some stronger winds maybe trying to come down. There's at least a degree of rotation going on with that. But that's going to be probably just a nice mezzolow. I don't see anything there that really completely stands out for you. And I was checking real quick the BTI number. If you're just wondering what Bill was doing there. The BTI is called the Barron Tornado Index. It's proprietary to Barron, who built our radar, and that's the graphic systems that we were running here as well. You see that number actually just came down off of that system, off that skit arrow. So it may be producing hail. Just looking at those numbers real quick. So there's nothing here that, aside from it, the warning that's out, still a long way away from us. But it was interesting that popped up while we were talking here. We also can look at shear rate, and again, that's not anything over the top here. So that's, again, just a storm. We can look at, it's trying to produce, well, it's trying to show some debris here. Let me take that back a couple. They may have been able to pick some stuff up. Okay. That's the blue that we're looking at there. So, interesting. What are they? Let me read the exact warning. No Tor. That's a severe thunderstorm warning for hail. So that may be what we're seeing there is a little bit of hail, because that's what matches up with the hail swath. So there you go. That's the situation. Again, there's a little bit of gate-to-gate shear here. You see the reds and the greens, so that's headed toward the Louisville radar, about that way. That's headed away, and so there is your counterclockwise spin on a radar display. The radar display is a little bit behind that, but there again, there's a little inflow notch. So that again is a little supercell. I would suspect the hail core is more up here, so we'll keep an eye on that. But again, for the reasons I was showing you before, with the Cape, that the storm should be weakening as they cross I-65. But again, we'll be on it. Hopefully, I won't see Tom in the morning. That means if I am seeing Tom, that the severe threat continued well past midnight. But I'm hoping that by about 1 o'clock I'll be able to go home. But that's the overall setup now. And just anything new real quick, new messages. And we will. And again, tune over. No, Mount Sterling, I sincerely doubt Mount Sterling will have any warnings. It'll be gone for the morning commute in Lexington. Your morning commute will be a cold one. Temperatures will be in the low and mid 40s. That's also your high for the day. And again, you may see some snowflakes fly tomorrow. Monticello, again, I don't expect to see much there. Just the garden variety stuff. Your daughter in Bardstown, it'll be between 10 and 11, so 10:30, 11 o'clock. Just have her. Bardstown is Louisville's, technically their area. So, excuse me. You're still well west of Bardstown with that particular cell. But make sure that they have an information source there in Bardstown. They're a little bit closer to the action than we all are here. Barberville is fine. Northern Scott County, I think you can just get garden variety stuff too. The storms are still a long way off. But again, we'll keep an eye on that one storm that's gone severe. We're showing you again the outflow, the rear flank downdraft coming around it, so it's trying to wrap up, but I suspect most everything's off the surface. But remember, as we were showing you, that once you get out in here, there's a lot less energy that's going to be available. And so I, again, expect those storms to be weakening as they get closer. So again, we'll wrap this up here. Thanks for clicking over here on the Facebook Live. We still have 500 people, so again, thank you for hanging around here on your Wednesday evening. Dry Ridge, you're under a severe thunderstorm watch, so keep just advised of what's going on. You're in the Cincinnati area, so the TV stations will be giving you those direct warnings a little quicker than we will. Winchester, again, I don't think you have anything to worry about. And Kaylee, nice to see you, Kaylee. Up there in Cynthiana, we appreciate you, and thanks for being one of our watchers up there. We appreciate you, Kaylee. Richmond, again, I don't expect much more than a garden variety storm coming through. And the meteorologist, hopefully don't trademark that name. I'm gonna pass that on to the promotions folks. So again, thanks, folks. We'll see you on the TV side coming up here at 11 o'clock. And if anything hangs on toward midnight, we will come back on the Facebook. But I don't anticipate that. But we'll be monitoring it and let you know if needed. But at this point, I suspect these storms will be settling down as they begin to approach central Kentucky. Thanks for watching our webcasts, our Facebook cast, whatever we call these things, here on Facebook and